Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video, I wanted to make a tier list for legendary charm, crafting, and sweeping priority because after reset, we're going to have the next round of Dura Trials floors unlocked. And now is the perfect time to make a video like this. Okay, before we get into the video, I have to give credit for these hero icons to Yapala. You guys can check out their Discord in the description of this video. I'll leave a link. Okay guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So we have Bonnie. Bonnie is a hero seeing quite a bit of Dream Realm use, not in maybe overall top teams, also in endless her use is a little bit on the decline. However, I do still think she's an S plus tier hero for you to be upgrading legendary charms on. And of course, she is also good for AFK stages. She's good for PvP. But really, with the S and above tier heroes, we're looking for AFK stages and also for Dream Realm. So I would put her at the end of the S plus tier. Carolina. Carolina is going to be a hero for the AFK stages. She is great. Giving her charms is going to increase her damage. It will help you in your Iron Almas new combo. And that is similarly why I think Arden belongs along with the Carolina in the S tier, because their damage output can be higher if you get them their legendary charms. And if you're having any difficulty making it to the daily limit for the AFK stage progress, then I do think that investing into your AFK stage heroes can be very valuable. And honestly, Iron Almas combo teams, these are the ones which are the most used and that I see the most in my records. And so these are the ones you should be investing into. Okay, now we have Damien. Damien is a PvP related support. Not good for Dream Realm. Not really needed for AFK stages. I'm going to put him in the A tier. And basically how you guys should consider this tier list, if the hero is in tier A or below, it really means they are not really that much of a priority at all. And if you do have these heroes and you're using them a lot in different game modes, then you can upgrade their charms, but they would come at a lower priority compared to the S and S plus tier heroes. Callan is a hero. I'm going to put him in the A tier. People have had some benefit, like basically they've had some success with Callan in the Supreme Arena defenses. Personally, I'm not a fan of Callan yet. I don't think he does anything which is that great, and I prefer Thorin as a tank compared to Callan. However, maybe I'm biased. Yeah, I don't have enough experience with Callan. I'm going to put him in the A tier. Elsa, we will put her in the A tier. She is a decent damage dealer. Even for Crystal Beetle, sometimes Orson. But now that we're making it to Endless, honestly speaking, she's not going to be in any of the top performing teams. She's not a very meta Dream Realm hero anymore. So I'm just going to put in the A tier for that, basically. Cecia, I will put her in the B tier. I think there are some early game players who might have her. And she might be used as a damage dealer in Dream Realm or maybe even in AFK stages. But if you do not need Cecia, you should not be upgrading her charms. That is basically A tier or below. If you do not use these heroes a lot, you should not be upgrading their charms or like at a very last priority, basically. Brutus. Brutus is a hero which is PvP basically only. I'm going to put him in the B tier for that reason. Entendre, not needed. I'm going to put her in the C tier. And even if you're using her, for example, in AFK stages, you don't need her charm upgrade. She's just a tank. She doesn't need that charm upgrade to do anything. Okay, Diurnal. Diurnal is going to be in the A tier as a PvP hero. I'm not going to put purely PvP heroes above A tier. Maybe I'll put a couple, but honestly, I don't really want to put anything because above the A tier because I feel like they do not deserve that high priority focus. Like I said, until all of your key heroes are upgraded, and I do not consider the PvP heroes key heroes. Cassidy, I'm going to put in the C tier. She's unfortunately not useful anywhere. She doesn't have Dream Realm use. She doesn't have AFK stage or PvP use. So she's just a hero which you should skip. Atalanta, even though she did get her Supreme Plus skill upgrade, I don't think it's going to change anything about the fate of Atalanta. Maybe I'm wrong. However, she just doesn't do enough in her kit in order to see any viability in different game modes. And now we have Brian. Brian, I'm going to put in the B tier. He's very similar to Nero in an Iron comp when you're running like your own Iron Wombo combo nuke comp. You can have Brian in front of Iron in the team positioning because then Lily May will interrupt your Brian rather than your Iron. Basically, he body blocks your Iron from the Lily May. Burial, he's a PvP hero and not even that good in my opinion, so I'll put him in the A tier, even below Damien. Dunlinger, we'll put him in the B tier. Upgrading his charms, not a major priority, and a lot of people would not even have Dunlinger built. And even if you did have him, I think the other PvP heroes would be more of a priority for you to be upgrading compared to him. Iron. Now, Iron is used in AFK stages a lot. However, his charm upgrades are not as much of a priority because he is not used as a damage dealer. He's used as a tank and a supporter, like a utility hero. And those heroes do not need a charm upgrade, generally speaking, because his charm upgrade only increases his own self damage, which is hardly going to change much of the fight. Arden and Carolina, they have a good quality bonus, and they also have high damage output. That is why their charms are a higher priority. Elijah and Lila, definitely. They're our first definite S plus tier. Like Bonnie also is, but Elijah, Lila, they're one of the top tier in terms of priority. But the good thing is you'll be able to get their charms from the Charm Merchant. And Elijah and Lila, you should be getting their legendary charms from the Charm Merchant. That is the most economical, basically, way of acquiring them. And yeah, so that is what I would recommend. Faye is C tier. Not anything more needed to be said about Faye, I think. Floribel, I'm going to put Floribel in the A tier. She has some decent PvP use, but more importantly, in Elucia the Unveiler, if you're really limited on options, Floribel can see some use, and so getting her charm upgrade, that could be somewhat of a value. However, honestly speaking, Floribel is not really that needed or important. Very similar to kind of like Elsa. You don't really need them. Yeah, we can actually even move Elsa around here or something. Yeah. Okay, Granny. Granny is not needed and not useful anywhere. Again, unfortunately, Harak. Harak is another top tier hero. We're going to put Harak in the S plus tier. I'm going to put him after the twins. However, honestly speaking, he could maybe even be before the twins, because from now up until we get Mythic Magic Charms, which is going to be like a 20-day period, Harak is going to be dominating. This is his time in the sun, basically, to shine, because we do not have like that mythic boost, which is going to allow Shakir and Ludovic to overtake him. But Harak has made it to Endless, and Harak does really well in Endless bosses before the mythic charms are unlocked. So Harak is going to be a top tier option if you haven't built. And again, this is a disclaimer. If you have Harak at maybe legendary, there's no reason to be crafting his charms or sweeping for them. This is only if you have these heroes built up. And for Harak, honestly, probably like Supreme Plus, you're using him in the top teams, and then you can get his charms. Otherwise, it would not be worth it. Hewen is a PvP support, and she has a really good charm quality bonus. But the thing with the quality bonus is that can be used even before you get the upgrade to legendary. Like even at epic, she's gonna have the same effect, which is making herself invincible. The upgrade to legendary is mainly you're doing it for the stats, and usually you want to do it for your damage dealers. So eventually, yeah, upgrading Hewen to legendary is nice. She's a good PvP hero, especially in this season with the charm bonus she has. However, it is down the line. It is not a top priority. Hodgkin, I don't know about Hodgkin. Like, I mean, some people use him in PvP, but honestly, I don't think Hodgkin is that great. But I'll put him at the end of the B tier. Hugin is another S plus tier category hero, mainly because of the charms he has this season. He is amazing for that, and also because of like his shielding that he provides to your allies, giving more attack buff to them. And if he's run with Odie with the mechanized bond, that's even more value for more attack increases. So Hugin is a solid hero for some Dream On bosses, especially Thalassa. So Hugin is really a top priority for your charms. Igor, PvP hero, we can keep him in the B tier. Nothing special. Kafra, nope. Don't need him. Coco is a support, not really needed for Endless Dream On bosses, because now that we've made it to Endless, survival will be less and less of an issue, and especially as we keep increasing our level up to the level cap of 800. So Coco is going to be phased out of a lot of the teams, other than maybe Lone Gaze for a while, but I think eventually even there she is going to be phased out for like a Shakira type comp. But yeah. And also, even if you're running Coco in a team, you do not need her charms. Her charm just increases that boost that she gives to an ally one tile in front of her. It's mainly a PvP oriented charm effect, in my opinion. It's not a long-term effect. Corrin. Now, Corrin is a hero. You can honestly not upgrade his charms. It depends on do you use him or not. I'm going to put him around this Floribel tier, because it all depends. Do you use Corrin or do you not use him? If you are using him for any Dream Realm boss content, then you should upgrade his charms because that is going to boost his damage output. However, if you have the top tier damage dealer options, Corrin has become completely redundant. Corrin cannot compete in any of the boss content anymore, unless you're just limited on options and you're a newer player. Okay, Kruger. Kruger, the thing with him is that he is using some top teams. He's a good debuffer for Sinbad, who is a top tier damage dealer right now. I am going to put Kruger up here. I'm going to put him even before the Diurnal, because Kruger doesn't need his charms. His charm bonus is not like going to increase the damage that the rest of your team does. It only increases his own self damage, but his own damage can be decently high. So I am going to put Kruger at the top of the A tier for right now. Okay, now we have a very tricky one. We are actually two tricky ones back to back. Lenya and Lily May. So for a long time, Lily May was like top priority, S plus tier, one of the top. However, in this season, Lily May is facing her decline for Dream Realm content. She can be used if you're limited on options again, even in some of your best teams. However, if you've been playing for a while and you have a lot of meta heroes built up, you will not be using Lily May that much anymore in Dream Realm. And in AFK stages, she's not really used that much either. So, and for Lenya is a hard-hitting damage dealer for pre-endless bosses. When you make it to endless, she can be fine in Rainier-oriented comps, like Rainier Mythic plus Lenya. She can be fine, but she's not necessarily top tier, and I don't think she's going to be a part of any of the top-performing teams. And so for that reason, I think I need to put both of these two into the S tier. And honestly, I'm going to put them even after Caroline and Arden, because... And this will depend though. If you do not have any issue reaching the daily limit of AFK stages, then you can have Lenya and Lily May. You can build up their charms first. Honestly, we could even have it like this. I don't think it really makes much of a difference. Basically, all four of these heroes in the S tier, it doesn't really matter which order you get them in. And it just depends how much you're using them and how much you need like an AFK stage boost. Because even if you do get, for example, charms on Arden and Carolina, maybe it would allow you to push an extra 5 or 10 stages. It's not like it's going to say, oh, now you can push 100 stages by getting their charm upgrades. But it would be a help, right? Okay, so Lorison. Lorison is actually a pretty dominant PvP hero. I need to make a video about him because I kind of did underestimate him for quite some time. But now I'm really feeling that he's actually pretty meta and also has use for the future. Kind of future proofing. But anyway, we're gonna keep him in the A tier around about Beryl right now, but purely a PvP hero, not needed for anything other than that. Luca, not needed even for AFK stages. I hardly see Luca now. It's mainly Iron Alamus and almost all of the floors, because the thing is, we don't have dual stages anymore. We only have one stage, and so you don't need to have two teams, for example. Lucius I'll put in the B tier as well. Lucius is not really needed. However, his charm quality bonus is a good one. When he shields and heals an ally, I think it provides attack buff to them. I believe that is the same as like Ludovic. That is a very powerful effect. And yeah, but like where would you really use him? Like battle drills is basically it. Ludovic has risen up. Ludovic is definitely going to be number 3 of our heroes right now. Not as much as Harak. However, as time goes on, Ludovic is going to become more and more valuable. I think for a couple of reasons. Number one, of course, we've made it to endless, and his HP per second damage is high. But number 2, his charm bonus is really good. However, it doesn't stack with the twins. But the twins can't be healing up all of your allies. Twins only heals up the Stellar Bond linked allies. Ludovic is going to heal everyone. And when he heals them, he provides an attack buff to them, increasing their damage further. So Ludovic is really good. Top tier. Lumont is going to be, yeah, he can be in the B tier. PvP hero only, that is basically it. Leica PvP hero behind Dunlinger, that is it. Merrily. Now Merrily is a hero, it really, the positioning again, it comes down to, do you need to use her or not? I'm going to put her in number 1 position because if you are using Merrily, for any Dream On bosses, like your top performing team, then yeah, getting her charms is a big priority. However, if you have the meta heroes, you do not need to use Merrily. Merrily has been phased out. And so that is the reason why she's not like S tier or anything like that. But if you are limited on options, she could be your best choice, and then upgrading her would be important. Mikola we're going to put in the A tier. Mikola is very meta. She's very relevant. However, her charm upgrade is going to give her a bit of higher damage. Her damage is very low to begin with, especially in endless bosses. It is her buffs that she's providing to her team, attack buff and haste buff, that are valuable. That is why she's run in the comp. It is not because of her own damage, especially if you're running in a Harak comp where you want it to be eaten. So yeah, top of the A tier, basically not a top priority like a damage dealer to upgrade in charms, even though she's very meta in Dream Realm. Muriel I'll put in the B tier. Muriel is a hero, which actually someone did share, it was a while ago, and I think when we get to Endless, probably not, but he shared his best Dream Realm team for one of the days, one of the bosses, I can't remember which one, was using Muriel. After her Supreme Plus upgrade. However, honestly speaking, I don't think she's just not a great option. Like, I think that person who did get this, it was because he was like at a certain low resonating level. He didn't have other heroes built, so I do not recommend necessarily Muriel at all. Okay, Nara, C tier. If you use her in AFK stages, she doesn't need her charm effect. She just needs even one copy is good enough, and she does her job. Just for the reposition. Nero I'm going to put in the A tier because he is a pretty dominant PvP hero. Mainly because of his charm effect. Like, he does two things. Number one, he will take the enemy Lily May interruption to enable your Iron comp on your defense or even on offense against a Lily May opponent. Number two, he has a very good charm effect, providing true damage to the ally one tile behind him, converting some of their damage into true damage. That is a very powerful effect in this season. He has like the best, in my opinion, supporter charm set this season. Although Ludovic and the twins have a really good one as well. So it's kind of debatable which is actually better. But anyway, Nero is a good option. But purely PvP, you do not need to invest into him. Okay, now we have Odie. Odie is going to be... I'm going to put Odie behind Ludovic, because Odie's probably going to begin falling off now that we've made it to Endless. However, for Thalassa, he is going to remain probably the best hero for the whole season, because you have Hugin, you have Rainier, and you have Odie. Because you can't have any melee heroes, you have to have long range, and that is when Odie is going to shine. Parissa is going to be a PvP oriented hero. That's pretty much it. We can put her in the B tier. Freesto is going to be after Harak. I don't know about this actually. Do I put Freesto before Harak or after Harak? As of right now, Harak is more dominant in Dream Realm compared to Freesto. And also upgrading his charms with his quality bonus and his stats, because he's a damage dealer, would be more beneficial. But Freesto is a hard-hitting damage dealer for Endless as well, and we have made it to Endless. So both are really important, but I do think Harak is a bit more important than Freesto. Okay, and by the way, if I didn't already mention this, the twins, you should get their legendary charm from the charm merchant, because that is the most cheap way of getting that. Okay, Rainier. So Rainier's charms are very important this season. He's seeing a surprising amount of use even in Endless Dream Realm bosses. I think I'm going to have to put him even in front of Ludovic, because you can use him with Harak. There's great synergy. Use him with Odie. He has a great charm quality bonus, so upgrading them is going to be useful. Yeah, that is basically it. Okay, so now we have Reese. So Reese is not a needed hero, not meta at all, not important for anything. Rowan is a hero which is a PvP oriented hero, maybe some AFK stages. I'll put him behind the Coco. Salazar can be in the C tier. Satrana is a PvP hero. We can put her around Parissa. Scarlita is a PvP purely hero. She has no PvE content usage, not even AFK stages. I will put her around... yeah, around Coco level. Seth is a PvP hero. We can put her with Parissa, no other use. Shakir. Now, the thing about Shakir is, again, very like Mikola. I'm going to put Shakir with Mikola, because Shakir is a great Dream Realm hero. However, right now, his legendary charm quality bonus is not going to change anything. It's just going to increase his own damage slightly, and his own damage is very low for the fights. The reason you run him is for his attack buff to ramp up the damage of your true damage, like your HP per second damage dealers, or your actual damage dealers. That's what I mean by true in this sense of the word. But so Shakir is good for that. That is the reason you would want to run him. And he does not need his legendary charms. It will just slightly increase his damage output. Eventually, you will want to get them, because every bit of damage will count. However, it is a really kind of lower priority. Definitely, things change when we get Mythic. Like, this is in no way a Mythic magic charm priority list. That is going to be completely different. But this is for legendary charms. Okay, Sylvina. Sylvina is a PvP hero. I'm going to put her in the A tier. She's good for, she can counter enemy Iron comms. She can jump before the Iron can immobilize her. And she can, on offense, she can assassinate enemies. So that is pretty good. I like Sylvina. I think she's a good PvP hero. Sinbad. Sinbad is a strong Dream Realm hero. Now, the thing is, I think I have to put him above Odie because in terms of endless Dream Realm bosses, which we have now reached, Sinbad is going to outperform Odie. Odie is going to be best in Thalassa, but apart from that, Sinbad is going to be better in the other ones. And so, or like I think two different bosses, Lucia, and then potentially there was one, Snow Stomper, I think, were the ones. So getting Sinbad charms are going to be very important. Okay, now we have Smokey. Smokey charms are going to be very important as well. I think I'm going to put him right, actually in front of Ludovic. In front of Ludovic, behind Ludovic. I'm going to put him behind Ludovic. So Smokey is going to be a hard-hitting damage dealer for Endless with his blue aura, dealing HP per second damage. He also provides attack buff, haste, and healing for your team. Smokey is going to see a lot more use in Endless Dream on bosses. But Ludovic is going to be your like hard-hitting damage dealer. Ludovic's damage is actually higher than Smokey's, but Smokey deals damage and also buffs up your team. So, yeah, it is kind of debatable which one is higher, but I think this is how I would put it. Ludovic before Smokey. We have Sonya as well. Sonya is a very good Dream Realm hero, but in Endless bosses, she's not going to be as used as pre-Endless. In pre-Endless, she was so dominant. In Endless, she's probably going to see use in the top teams of 2 to 3 bosses, but apart from that, she could be in a lot more, like second or third best team options. So I'm going to put Sonya after Sinbad, yeah, because Sinbad is more important on his own damage, and so getting his charms are more important. The heroes which have the highest damage output in the score sheet, those are the heroes which need their charms more. Soren is a niche PvP hero, we'll put him in the B tier. Talene. Talene is going to be best in certain Dream on bosses, not very many for Endless, but because she still will be, I'm going to put her in the S plus tier, and we're going to put it even in front of Bonnie in the priority. Yeah, I think this is, or should she be even higher than Odie? I mean, it's going to be pretty similar to Odie, to be honest. Maybe we can put her even maybe higher than Odie. And where do Hewing go? Anyway, for these tiers, basically S and S plus tier, you want to get all these heroes charms crafted, like, or up to legendary tier. These are your top priorities. Definitely for the S plus tier. Everything in here you want to get them. So like even if maybe my positioning is like kind of a little bit off by 1 or 2 different placements, it doesn't really make much of a difference because you just want to basically get all of these. Now Tassi is a hero. I'm gonna put Tassi in S tier. She doesn't have much AFK trees use, to be honest. However, she is dominant in PvP. A lot of people have Tassi. She can solo carry your team in a Supreme Arena match, giving you basically a win on her own. She can carry your team on her back, and that is why I think, and getting her charms are going to let her do that even more easily. So I think Tassi charms should be somewhat of a priority for every player, and that is why I'm going to put her in the S tier. Basically, my only pure-ish PvP hero who I put in the S tier. Temesia is really weird. Temesia has kind of really fallen off. I'm putting in the B tier because she was so good in the Iron Almas comp, but now I think the Iron Almas, Arden, Carolina Bonnie, or like twins Bonnie, and you don't have the room for Temesia anymore, and she's not really needed. So that's kind of the thing. Okay, now as for Thorin is going to be, Thorin is a PvP hero. I really like him in PvP. I think he's really strong for Supreme Arena. So I am going to put him, after the Iron. Yeah, really good with the Soul Pact, damage reflection. He's a massive kill threat. He's great for tankiness and stall-oriented teams. Overall, Thorin is a solid hero, but you don't need his charms because it's purely for PvP. Alamis. Alamis is interesting. Alamis is a PvP hero, number 1. Number 2, he is an AFK stage hero. His charm effect, I think generally you don't even care that much about his charm effect bonus. So I don't necessarily think he's a top priority. I think I have to put him in the A tier. And I have to put him in the A tier, right? I do have to put him in the A tier. Yeah, I'm going to put him in the A tier, and I'm going to put him around in front of the diagonal. Yeah, maybe something like this, yeah? Almost, yeah. Something like that. Okay, Vala. Vala is in the Assassin comp along with Sylvina. They'll be together in the A tier. getting the legendary charms, but purely for PvP. Okay, guys, we're almost done. We have Valen, who is a C tier hero. We have Walker, who is a C tier hero. Don't need their charms. And then you have Viperon, who is a PvP potential hero, but not top tier, very niche, depending on how limited your options are. And finally, we have Velka. Now, Velka has been proven in the second and third best Orison teams, which is enough, in my opinion, to warrant her a spot in the S tier. Because if a hero is even in the second best team for Dream Realm, that is enough of a reason for you to begin focusing their charms. Like, for example, Lenya and Lily May, they're not in any of the top Dream Realm endless teams. However, if they're in the second or third best teams, that is a reason to get their charms. Okay, guys, so we are done with the tier list. I am pretty happy with it overall. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Now we're going to briefly explain the priority. Now this is the tier list. Now, how will you use this information to optimize your sweeping and your crafting? So what I like to do is you look at the day of the week. So for example, let's say we have mage treasure let's say we have support treasure and warrior treasure open, right? We can either go for supports or we can go for warriors. Now you're going to look at this tier list and say, okay, we have one support Elijah, we have one support Rainier, Ludovic, Smokey, Hugin. Okay, we have 5 supports in the S plus tier. For warriors, we have Harak, we have Sonya. And then we can look down at the S tier. There's none in the S tier for either of them, I think. Unless is Velka a warrior? I don't know. Anyway, you guys get the point basically. You're going to look at this tier list and you're going to say which are the heroes in the highest tier and the highest number of them which are sweepable today. And then you go for them. Generally speaking, you can't go wrong with support sweeping because there's so many dominant supports for Dream Realm, such as Rainier, Twins, although Twins you'll get from the charm merchant, but Rainier, Ludovic, Smokey, Hugin, all of these charm effects are going to be massive upgrades for your Dream Realm score. And then even if you don't hit them, you can hit other A tier that we have here, supports like Damien, Nero, Haywin, Coco, Rowan. These are all heroes which will help you for PvP. So you're basically going to be getting something good, or even Mikola, you're going to be getting something good when you're sweeping supports, and that is why usually that is a recommended sweep. However, when we look at the Fresto, he's the only tank we have, not only in the S plus tier, even in the S and S plus tier, the only tank we have is Fresto, and he's really the only hero out of the tank class that you need to get charms on, but are really important to get his charms. So then for a hero like that, in that position, I would choose to craft Fresto's charms, then you never have to sweep a tank treasure, because if you do sweep a tank treasure, in all likelihood, you're going to be hitting things which are not efficient for you or useful for you. Like they'll be good for PvP, like on your other tank heroes, but they're not helpful for what your main priority is right now. So I would not be sweeping tank. Instead, I would be focusing crafting Fresto charms ASAP. Also, I can really understand if you wanted to rapidly craft your Sinbad charms, because he is a top hitting damage dealer in whichever bosses that he's running. And especially if you're a more budget player who doesn't have all the top meta teams, I think Sinbad might be usable in more than just 2 of your top performing Dream On boss teams. So Sinbad could be a good option for crafting. Basically, anything in the S plus tier can be a decent option for crafting. However, if it's a support, you're going to be sweeping so much of support. I would try to avoid crafting the support charms, and in favor, craft the charms of the heroes which are really impactful and important, like Fresto and Harak, which you're not going to be sweeping their treasures as much. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you guys have not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. We're on our road to 20,000 subscribers. Let's hit it before the end of the season. Also, guys, join my AFK Journey Discord server. There's a link to that in the description of this video. We have around 2,700 active members, and it would be fun to talk to all of you guys there. But thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.